thing I did different was take these products, and I said, well, I better keep using the Amora and the skin cream, and it's worked out for me so far, so I can't complain.
Well, you mentioned that you have an upcoming tournament that's a senior tournament, and I mentioned that no one's going to believe that you're old enough to play in a senior golf tournament.
Yeah, I get that significantly. So I was playing golf one day, and in a tournament, and one of my caddies asked me, he says, "What's your next event, Doc?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going to play in the Senior Open." And he's like, "You're not old enough to play in that. How did you get in there?" And I said, "You'd be surprised. I'm significantly old enough to play in that." So yeah, it's great to hear these compliments. And I'm skeptical, like I said before, but when you keep hearing from other people about what they see, because I see myself every day and I don't think anything of it, but when other people tell you, it's a different thing. So I'm going to keep using it as long as I keep hearing that.
Well, that's great. And that'll get in the head of your opponents. They'll say, this guy's way too young. He's going to hit the ball 100 yards past us. So, well, on that note, we have a few minutes left that we want to be mindful of everyone's time. But if any of you have any particular questions that you'd like to ask Dr. Patel while he's online, we can open up the lines and let you do that. Let us know if any of you have a particular question you'd like to ask.
I just lost you.
John, are you trying to ask a question?
You're up on screen. John,
Yes. How does osteoporosis help as opposed to rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis? I'm sorry.
Great question, John. There's actually been several studies done on osteoarthritis of the knees and people using curcumin, and the benefits they found were very significant. People really, especially, and I can send you the studies that were done if you would like via email through David. But there's been several people who have looked at the effects of curcumin helping people with osteoarthritis.
Yes, send those to me if you can.
It's interesting. You're the doctor, Dr. Patel, but obviously the roots of rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis in some respects are quite different in terms of the mechanisms of action, what's causing one versus the other. But they do ultimately have at least a common denominator in some degree of inflammation, right?
Absolutely. So rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease where your immune system is fighting your body. And that's what all the autoimmune disorders is basically your immune system's fighting your own body. Osteoarthritis is more inflammation caused by wear and tear over time. So that's the difference, but the common denominator is inflammation, which is what Optimend is for.
Good. Okay.
I had a question. Yeah. That is true that as you are taking Optimend and that helps with the regeneration of the joints with time or with timing?
Coco, Optimend will not help regenerate. I think you're asking about cartilage in the joints.
Yes.
That's not what Optimend will do. It will reduce inflammation, but the things that people do for regeneration of cartilage, they're using stem cells and things like that. That's something you would go see your orthopedic surgeon to discuss. They would be able to, help you with that stuff. But Optimend will not regenerate anything like that.
Thank you. Maybe one more. Is Optimend safe for animals?
I don't know. To be honest with you, that's not even something I contemplate.
I can tell you this, although Dr. Patel, understandably, because he works with humans, it may not be on his radar, but veterinarians do actually use turmeric and curcumin products. In fact, there are some lines that contain curcumin products aimed at dogs, at horses. In fact, Angie Hawthorne, as many of you know, is an avid horsewoman, and she knows that her veterinarian has prescribed curcumin for her horses, and so it's increasingly becoming well known. And the safety profile for pets, not everything that we can eat are safe for pets. I mean, most people know that chocolate can be quite dangerous for dogs, for example. But actually, it's interesting that curcumin and turmeric products are being utilized increasingly in veterinary science. That said, we've not used. I think we probably do have some distributors who are experimenting. In fact, actually, I know we do. We have some who, in fact, I don't know, Aaron, you might know. It seems like somebody who's been around has used dogs. Was it with your dog? And
Jerry just typed it in the chat.
Oh, Jerry, yeah, I know that. So some people even on this call have had some great results with their animals, their dogs. And so I don't know about larger animals. I don't know if people have tried it on that, but I do know that there's already been some great reports of effects upon dogs. And Sherry says the same thing, so that's good. Of course, actually, what they start speaking Farsi, which is interesting. No, I'm just kidding. But
it looks like Shailendra, or if I'm saying it correctly, has his hand up and he wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Patel. Is there a way to measure cellular inflammation?
That's a great question. I don't think that unless you're a microbiologist that you're going to look at cellular inflammation. I don't know that you can measure it per se. There's no test. If you're asking me, is there a blood test that you can do? I guess the closest thing would be an RPR, which is a test that we use to determine if somebody has autoimmune disease or some sort of inflammatory process going on. So yeah, I guess an RPR test would be the only thing that you could do. But that will give you more of like somebody with a chronic inflammatory process going on.
Okay. Okay. And one more thing, my wife and I cook very often, and we use a lot of, add a lot of turmeric in our curries and all. Do we still need to supplement that?
Well, I don't know how much curry you're eating, but I don't think the Optimend will put you over the limit of
3,000
curcumin. So, but yeah, hopefully you're throwing a little black pepper in the curry so that you get the absorption of what turmeric you're using in the curry.
What's interesting is that with Link, with the repair that butyric acid helps to encourage on endothelial cells, I think it's going to, it leads to increased nutrient absorption of the nutrients we are getting through food. Because obviously, one thing you mentioned, Dr. Patel, is the poor bioavailability of turmeric, whether it comes in the form of food because of the large molecular size, or supplements for the same reason. And so the body's ability to take it and piperine or black pepper has been shown to increase the absorbability. But on the other hand, it has been shown in some cases to have an abrasive effect that sometimes can cause some stomach illness if people take too much black pepper. It can actually cause abrasions in the gut. And so don't get me wrong, I've taken piperine, and I'm not saying don't ever do it, but it does have its own measure of side effects. What's also interesting is on your earlier question, Shailendra, is that in regards to, there's increasing evidence that I've seen or research about how do we measure what many researchers suspect is chronic low-grade inflammation across the general population as a result of our diet and lifestyles and things like that. And apparently, as Dr. Patel mentioned, it is very difficult to pinpoint this low-grade inflammation. But I know, for example, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, in his recent book, A World on Fire, which is all about inflammation, his whole theme is about the fact that we have this chronic low-grade inflammation that we're largely unaware of, that is the cause, as you mentioned earlier, Dr. Patel, of many health conditions, whether it be heart disease, cancer, other things that simply weaken us and make us more susceptible to these other disorders. So anyway, and I'm sure the research will continue to march on, and we'll be able to find some more. Science reveals that to us. Thank you for those questions. Anybody have any other questions?
David.
Hi, Rigo.
Hi. Do you know, Dr. Patel, if one of these products have an effect on allergies for people? I am a very allergic person during a certain part of the year, and I want to know if that would help.
I'm not so sure that Optimend would help with your allergies. Again, it's a whole different thing compared to inflammation. So, I mean, your body is reacting to a outside allergen. So that would be something that, you would probably have to see an allergy and immunology person to figure out what's triggering it, because I don't think the Optimend would help you, but maybe the Link may help in some way.
I was going to mention that, Dr. Patel, what you thought about that. Rigo, increasingly, there's a lot of evidence allergies are caused or at least made worsen by holes in the gut, and that as you're able to heal the gut, sometimes a lot of those allergies and the symptoms associated with them are greatly diminished. And a perfect example, you heard us mention this woman named Angie Hoffman. She suffered from allergies for years, and was on allergy medication. And after some time, as Dr. Patel said, it didn't happen overnight, but I think it was over the course of a couple of weeks of being on our product Link contains chiaric acid. She found that she was out hiking one day and had forgotten her medications, was quite worried because of the pollen count and mold content and everything in the air. And she found that she was not suffering at all. And so she's largely eliminated with medications. Now, that's an example of one, and I wouldn't say that we've done a widespread study, but there is certainly a lot of evidence that if you can heal the gut, that allergies can heal the gut.
Well, if I might add, Rigo, people are allergic to different things. So I guess what I would suggest is you find out what you're allergic to before you figure out what product is going to help you.
Perfect. Okay. Anybody else? We're getting up close to that time.
I think John said he had one more question.
Oh, John. Where did John go? There he is. John. Did you have another question?
I don't know, David. If you recall, we had a conversation about the Chiari malformation. And if Dr. Patel has ever heard of that, it's the
Chiari
growth that
malformation.
does grow the base of the cerebellum, I believe.
Yep. Yes, sir. I have heard of Chiari malformation. I've actually seen it. When I was at Vanderbilt, I was in the neurointensive care unit, and I managed a couple of patients with Chiari malformation. What's your question regarding Chiari malformation?
Is any of these supplements that take care of inflammation, would they be of any help?
If they are of any help, it would just be as a supplement. I mean, that's something that's a neurological issue, and I would never say that this would solve your problem. I mean, you should definitely seek the help of a neurosurgeon, because a lot of times you need that drained because it's going to keep filling up anyway. So usually they put a shunt and it goes right into the peritoneum, and then it just drains there and it gets reabsorbed by the body. So that's the solution to that problem. I wouldn't say that Optimend is going to solve that issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, John, send me an email or a text regarding that. I don't recall whether we had Dr. Maroon, who's a neurosurgeon, on the phone, whether we asked him that question. If not, what we'll do is I will bounce it off to him and see. I suspect that his answer will be exactly as Dr. Patel, but nevertheless. So.
You bet. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for taking time. Dr. Patel, any final words of wisdom to send everybody off on this Tuesday evening?
Well, I'm so happy to see all these faces, and I look forward to meeting people at the next Actives meeting that we have sometime. Hopefully when this pandemic's over, I can meet people in person.
Well, thank you. And on that note, we aren't quite ready to have a large event in the United States yet in person, but we are going to, I think everyone knows, that on the 24th of July at 9 a.m. Mountain Time will be our next virtual global event. And we are going to have a number, you'll be hearing a lot more about the participants and who's going to be involved there. But I know from past experience that Dr. Patel, once we are back together, has always enjoyed getting together with distributors and mingling with them and answering questions. And he's just been terrific at that. So we look forward, I think all of us look forward to getting together in person again soon. So, well, thank you, Dr. Patel, for joining us tonight. Stu, I'll turn the time back to you if there's some additional housekeeping things to take care of before we conclude.
Yes, thank you, everyone, especially Dr. Patel, sharing your knowledge, answering questions that people have. And the thing that I picked up the most from tonight's medical forum was I didn't have to, or I don't have to, or no one on this call needs to be a doctor to know all the complicated words or the scientific terms needed to help people. I just picked up on his golf professional was aching and he gave them his Optimin samples. So did people in the ER and at the hospital. He gave them samples, and just by giving them the samples, they knew that something was different, that it worked. And so, you know, for those on this call, sometimes we don't have to be experts or as knowledgeable as Dr. Patel is in knowing everything about our product or even about our body. We know that David and the scientific advisory board team and all those here at Actives has put together wonderful products that are here to change people's lives. So I really thank David for hosting, Dr. Patel for sharing a lot of great information about our wonderful products, especially Optimin. I logged on to, as David alluded to in the beginning of this call, was trying to do it on my computer so I could have that wheel of fortune with the names to do the lucky draw for tonight. But because of that, I had to log on to my phone and it, ended up working. So I don't have it here. So what I'm gonna do today only, if you have a birthday in June, please type your name in the chat and we will reward all those that have birthdays in June with 60 product points. David, don't kill me for this one, but we really appreciate those that are logging on these calls and we want to reward them, especially the mothers here that have birthdays in June, because June is a special month. So if you have a birthday in June, before you log off this call, please type your name in the chat and we will get those product reward points posted and given to you. So with that being said, thank you everyone for making time tonight. Please join us tomorrow on our corporate call and our updates. And every Tuesday night, please invite someone that you feel that could benefit from our products and also the different things that Actives has to offer. So thank you so much, and we hope you have a great night. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Maribel.
Bye. Thanks.
Happy birthday.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. That was amazing.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is it?
Thank you, Coco. We'll see you soon, Coco.
Okay. Great.